Will Papua New Guinea be next?
Solomon Islands, the next country over from you. China could have a military base just a few hundred kilometres from your country. Does that concern you?
I have no information on this.
But is this a Prime Minister's clever bluff?
Really? It's the biggest story in the region. And you're saying you don't know about it?
I have no knowledge of that proposal.
Or does he really not know the news?
With all due respect, some might suggest you're burying your head in the sand. There is big concern in Australia about this looming battle of the superpowers. Is there concern here?
We are really inconsequential to what happens with the big boys. And so for me, at the moment, my first interest comes in building my own country up to be economically sustainable country. So that has been my focus.
It sounds like money talks.
China is important to us, just as much as Australia is very important to us.
The critics say that China's tactic is almost a slow creep. You look at the South China Sea, it started off as fishing setups, and next thing you know, there's military bases there. And the suggestion is that that is their plan for your region too.
So far, no conversation with China has moved in the space of military relationship. And, look, in the bigger space, if something unfolds, then we'll be concerned. But at this point in time, I see no immediate need for concern in our region.
But to some experts, having an each-way bet is a dangerous game. The problem, according to defence analyst Alan Dupont, is that even seemingly straightforward developments can have ulterior uses.
Is the Chinese equation pretty simple? Investment equals influence?
Yeah, I think it's a bit more than that. Investment obviously does get you influence anywhere, but China's also thinking from a military point of view. If we establish a presence and a relationship with a small Pacific Island country, maybe we could parlay that into military capability too. If you're building a road or a railroad or a port or an airfield, why not make it militarily capable? Let's make it the airfield long enough to take a bomber. Let's have the harbour development able to take naval ships. All you need to do is just make it a bit bigger and stronger, and then you've got that capacity. Now, you may not be able to use it initially, but it's there as an opportunity for you down the track. So that's the Chinese approach, and they think a long way ahead on these things.
You look at these investments, I guess, in isolation as a project for development here. There's, another port facility being built there. On their own, I guess they seem okay, but you think it adds up to a much bigger picture?
Yes, it does. So that's why we have a contest, and it's a very important one, and we need to make sure we don't lose it.
So just how do we make sure we keep ahead of the game?
Is there a sense of scrambling, a sense of urgency to make sure you get ahead of this issue before things get out of hand?
I wouldn't describe it as scrambling, I would describe it as urgency.
We've come to Manus Island to see an Australian win in the competition for influence in Papua New Guinea. A place infamous for being the site of Australia's offshore detention centre, this laid-back slice of paradise is one of the most important strategic prizes in the whole of the Pacific. The reason is this, the Lombrum Naval Base.
It was the springboard for the Allies pushing back against Japan in the Second World War. So at the peak, that harbour was as important to the Americans in Australia as Pearl Harbor.
A vital naval base in the Pacific is Manus Island in the Admiralty Group, which commands the approaches to Papua and New Guinea.
At its peak, the base housed 37,000 military personnel, making Manus one of the most important staging posts of World War II. Defence analyst Alan Dupont views the strategically located deep port here just as important now as it was then.
If you have a military presence there, you can project power out from Manus Island, not only into the South Pacific, but into the South China Sea. Also, if you wanted to attack Australia, it'd be the perfect place to attack Australia from, if you just turn it around.
We're talking strategy here, but as soon as people start hearing, hang on, attack Australia. I mean, is that something that is on the cards in the years to come?
If China thinks that Australia is going to join with the United States and Japan to support Taiwan in a war they feel they must win, they will target Australia militarily. All right? Now, the problem for China at the moment is most of their missiles don't have the range to reach continental Australia. But if you get a base on a Manus Island, for example, and you can put some of your missiles there, that's a different proposition. Suddenly, the whole of Australia comes within range, and all our military facilities and so on.
A few years ago, when China was looking to invest in Lombrum, Australia recognised the danger, gazumping Beijing with a $175 million deal to upgrade the base, an agreement that allows Australian and US warships to dock here.
China may have missed out on the Lombrum base, but it's getting a foothold elsewhere on Manus Island. 80k along the coast from here, Chinese contractors are beginning work on a new fishing operation.